All right, in this video we're going to be learning about converting decimals into fractions. So fractions we have been familiar with a little bit this year. And I just want to reiterate that when we're dealing with fractions and decimals, we're dealing with parts of a whole. So we're not dealing with whole numbers. We're just dealing with parts of a whole. So when we have a fraction like this one here, 1 out of 10, if I have this little bar model here, I have 1 out of the 10 filled in. So that would be 1/10. So it's just part of one whole. However, if all 10 were filled in, 10 out of the 10 were filled in, then that would be 1 whole. That would be a whole number. If we happen to have 2 of them filled in completely, then that would be a 2. The whole number would be 2. But when we're dealing with fractions and decimals, we're dealing with parts of a whole. So when we're converting decimals to fractions, there's a few things that we need to know. One is at the beginning of the year, we were working with place value. So when we wrote our numbers, we would always have a digit here in the ones, in the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, and so on. However, when we're dealing with decimals, we have our little decimal point here. Since we're dealing with numbers that are less than 1, we have to write them on this side of the decimal. So we have our place value here. We have our tenths and our hundredths. We would need 10 tenths to get 1 whole. Here, we would need 100 hundredths to get 1 whole. So when we're converting our decimals to fractions, it's going to look like this. So for this particular problem, we have our 0.8. We see 0.8. It is in the tenths place. So again, we need 10 tenths for 1 whole. So if we're going to write it as a fraction, it would be over 10. And how many do we have? We have 8. So it would be 8 over 10. For this problem here, we have 0.09. Here, we don't have anything in the tenths place, but we do have something in the hundredths place. We have 9 hundredths. So let's write it up here. We have a 9 in the hundredths place and nothing in the tenths place. So we'll have our 0 there. So we have 9 hundredths. If here we had an 8 here and it was out of 10, what do we think this one's going to be if we have a number here out of hundredths? It will be over 100, because we need 100 hundredths for 1 whole. So if it's out of 100, how many do we have here? 9. So it'll be 9 over 100. 9 over 100. Now, some problems you'll see we have a number like this. We have a 4 in the tenths place and a 1 in the hundredths place. So let's write that up the top. All right, so we have 4 tenths and 1 hundredths. So since we have a number in the hundredths place, we know it will be over 100, because we'll need 100 hundredths to equal 1 whole. So we're going to make it over 100. So this number would be, we know 4 tenths plus 1 would be 41 over 100. 41 over 100.